The OST in the back here is Robo Oh, actually, which is very fitting. We're going to have a special announcement from Robo Oh developer Foxy from FoxyBoxyGames. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, we're cooking up some stuff. Wouldn't it be cool, maybe, if you showed some of it off? So we have a special little treat coming up in a bit. It's not quite Super Robo O news, but this is going to be one of the key steps in getting to Super Robo O. This is Robo O version 3.0. Exactly. Yo, Andrea, you're in my brain. This is beautiful. So exactly. If you go into the Robo O Discord, there was actually an update posted by Foxy a few months back. They announced not only are they working on Robo O and a major update for the NES inspired and themed fighting game, but they are also working on a sequel, which is going to be Super Robo O, of course, based on the 16-bit fighters of yore. Yes, another project that they are working on alongside Uchu Megafight creator Ujuzine is Robo O versus Uchu Megafight, which is going to be a Pico 8 versus fighting game. Now, friends, I don't know if you know much about the Pico 8. It's one of my favorite things on the face of the earth. For those of you who don't know, is a fantasy computing standard. It is a computing standard created by Lexalawful, I believe. Basically said, what if we created a computing standard that for like in software and emulate it for a physical hardware standard that doesn't exist? Imagine a one of the 90s like one of the many 90s like and 80s microcomputing standards. We're gonna make that. We're gonna create a set of limitations. It's gonna, and like all the code is written in Lua. It's a phenomenal concept. What if an emulator for a console or a PC that never existed? Genius. Here's some limitations, make some games in it. And you've gotten some amazing games out of this. The original Celeste, for those of you who know the platformer Celeste, the original Celeste was a Pico 8 game, right? There are many excellent projects, including Uchu Megafight, which are made on the Pico 8. The things that Ujuzine had to do to get Uchu Megafight to work, so part of the computing standard for the Pico 8 is very limited cartridge size. So all the games are stored in a PNG file, right? And so there's very limited space. And each of those PNG files is considered a cartridge for the game, right? So yes, that's exactly it. The way Uchu Megafight works is it uses multiple cartridges. And my understanding is that it functions something akin to bank switching. If you're familiar with NES programming or Famicom programming, you can have multiple banks of data. The console can only access, two of them at any given time, but you can swap which ones are available so that you can be like, hey, my guys here can interact with different bits of data over here. And so Uchu Megafight has, I don't know how many carts it uses at this point. My understanding is at least 8, possibly up to like a dozen or more. It is wild, like the feats of engineering that you have to work around in order to make this function. And it makes a beautiful game out of it. This is one of the great things about like innovation through limitation. Uchu Megafight is currently a beast of a Pico 8 game that like spans multiple cartridges in order to get it to function like it does. And they're going to put their technical skills to work alongside Foxy in order to create a tag versus game, which is like meshing together the already kind of intertwined worlds of Robo O and Uchu Megafight. They already have crossover characters in the game. They already share in a universe. So it makes total sense, and I'm very excited. So my understanding is that for Uchu Megafight or Robo O versus Uchu Megafight, they have functional characters in there. So it's up and running, and they're able to test it, but they're not ready to show it yet. This was around February, around the time that they released they didn't release it, but Foxy created a demo for Super Robo O featuring just Ring King. So they're like, progress is being made. Like the combat system is up and running in Super Robo O, and they have a couple characters at least. My understanding is several characters up and running in some fashion for Robo O versus Uchu Megafight. I'm sure Foxy is going to be happy to share some of that information as they're like, yes, this is ready to be shown to the world, right? And it's great because they're historically a developer that is happy to share in their development process relatively early, so we should be able to get some peeks into that pretty soon. And on that topic, of course, let's kick it off with this special presentation from from FoxyBoxyGames. So, like I said, Foxy is still in the process of developing Robo Oh, the NES-themed fighting game, and the first in this series. And it is getting a major overhaul, which is going to incorporate a tag functionality, which is going to incorporate a bunch of new mechanics, which are eventually going to be, iterated on and implemented in some fashion in Super Robo Oh. So Robo Oh 3.0 is kind of being used as a testbed for Super Robo Oh, and given the tag functionality, very likely Robo Oh versus Uchu Mega Fight. But right now, Foxy is working on Robo Oh 3.0, and in it's going to be a bunch of new additions, including not only like new mechanics and new combat systems, but some new story mode stuff and some new animations. So let's take a look at what Foxy has prepared for us today, and I'm very excited to show this off to y'all. There you have it. So, new story mode for Robo Oh, a version select that preserves the old iterations as well as supporting the new one, a phased release so that we're able to get the game in our hands Yeah, I really love, Andrea, that they've decided to implement a version select and that the classic Robo Oh remains available. I think, like, looking at the history of Robo Oh, it is a fascinating process of development, right? Where it is something that started out extremely, extremely close to what the NES standards are, and then it has evolved into something that is, like, honestly would 100% push the NES to its limits, even with the best mapper chips, and probably exceeds what it can do if we're being honest with ourselves, right? So having that, like, time capsule that you can go back to and see, like, especially from for 3.0, which 3.0 is going to be such a fundamental shift with the new tag system, that it's and all of the new assets as well. Everyone's getting a facelift with new art. So being able to preserve the old one, I think, is a beautiful homage, and something that right, like, we're seeing with other developers. I mean, Andrea, you're doing this. You have a version select for Schwarzer Blitz, right? I mean, this is it is great to see indie devs working to kind of preserve their own history, because it's important. But yes, so in the summer, hopefully, we're going to get access to the new systems. We're going to get access to new story mode content, new art, right? New cutscenes. Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. So I'm curious to see who the story modes come out for first, and what we're going to be able to learn in them. Because there's some really interesting lore in the world of Robo Oh that even crosses over with some of Foxy's other games, right? Not only does it cross over with Uchu Mega Fight, but it crosses over with Zodiac DX, their magical girl platformer that Foxy has made. Yes, it crosses over with Zodiac DX. So Megastar is connected to the world of Zodiac DX, which was actually hinted at in the intro video there, where you saw Megastar standing there, and our three lovely magical girls from Zodiac DX watching him take off for battle. Yeah, Punk, Zodiac DX is absolutely amazing, right? And I love how that's kind of being incorporated. Hi, Foxy. Yo, you're welcome. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to show off some lovely news for Robo Oh. Yeah, magical girls and giant robots in the same universe. I mean, what's not to love about that, right? Yeah, that's an 80 kid's dream come true. Yeah, born in the 90s, but that's fine too. I highly recommend everyone go take a look at FoxyBoxy's other games. I mean, we talk about Robo Oh a lot around here because it's a fighting game. And I mean, hey, it's Niche Fighter Monday, right? So it makes sense that we're talking about fighting games. But I mean, part of the reason I love Robo Oh is because it's a love letter to 8-bit fighting games and 8-bit kind of development and style in general, right? It takes inspiration from a variety of places and makes it a little time capsule, right? And that's part of what I love. But Foxy's also done this with other genres. Like I said, Zodiac DX as the platformer genre, where you have 3 distinct characters who you can swap between. You have a nice little concise several level arcadey platformer. They've done Masami Sushi Ace, another one, Masamio from Robo Oh. So you can do a match 3 sushi game a la, like, Yoshi's Cookie, something like that, right? Takes inspiration from there. They've done a lot in terms of different genres and have these interesting takes on them. So seeing modern spins on those classics, I love seeing that. So highly recommend it if you're a fan of either, retro games, 8-bit games, or, puzzlers or platformers. There's a lot to love in the games that the other games that Foxy makes as well. But we're gonna have a bit of a explosion of fighting games coming from them in the next little bit. I mean, between Robo Oh 3.0, Super Robo Oh, which is in the works, Robo Oh Cross Uchu Mega Fight, which is also in the works. I know folks are very excited to hear more about those as they continue development.